My girlfriend confessed to cheating on me, so I lied and told her I cheated on her too. Last night, my girlfriend confessed that she had cheated on me, and my reaction was, let's say, a bit unexpected. When she dropped the bomb, I simply told her I had been cheating on her since the beginning of our relationship. Of course, it was a lie, but I needed to see how she would react. I already had my suspicions that something was wrong. Over the past few months, she had started acting weird, staying out late, seeming distant, and, that gut feeling you get when something's not right? Yeah, that. But I never confronted her directly because, honestly, I didn't have any proof, and I didn't want to come off as paranoid. So, when she finally decided to confess, telling me she had cheated, I just stood there, looking at her, thinking about what I was going to say. That's when the idea hit me. I looked her straight in the eyes and said, "Funny you say that, because I've been cheating on you since the beginning of our relationship." The silence that followed was delightful. She was completely stunned. After a few seconds, stuttering, she asked, "What do you mean? With who?" I made it up on the spot. I told her I'd been sleeping with another woman consistently, that it was something casual but had happened several times. She lost it. Seriously, it looked like she was about to explode. She started yelling, saying I was a jerk, that she couldn't believe I had done that. She tried to justify what she had done, saying it was only once and that she was drunk, as if that somehow erased what happened. I just stared at her, thinking, the audacity of this woman is unbelievable. She was accusing me while she had done exactly the same thing. It was almost comical. Things escalated. She started pacing around the house, gesturing like she was about to do something impulsive like breaking something or even slashing my car tires. Luckily, she didn't go that far. She just kept yelling and demanding to know who the other woman was. Obviously, I didn't have a name to give her, so I just said, "That doesn't matter now. What matters is that our relationship is over." She was in shock. "You're breaking up with me over something you did too," she shouted. I laughed. "I only said that to see how you'd react. And look at you. But yes, I'm breaking up with you. Because unlike you, I don't need to make up excuses to justify what I do." She turned red with anger, and I knew I had crossed a line. But honestly, I don't regret it. I grabbed her stuff, packed it into a bag, and told her to leave. After a lot of yelling and one last "you'll never find anyone better than me," she finally left. After that, I called my friends and invited them over for a barbecue. They showed up with beer, and the night ended up being way better than I expected. I told them the story, and we all had a good laugh. It was funny because even though the situation had been a mess, I felt like I came out on top. In the end, I don't know if she deserved me lying to her, but honestly, after everything, it was satisfying to see her reaction. The irony of someone confessing to cheating on you and then being outraged by an invented infidelity was the cherry on top. So yeah, it's not the craziest story you'll read here, but it was definitely an episode worth sharing. But what happened afterward was disastrous. But what I thought I had resolved turned into an even bigger nightmare. After that night, I really thought everything was over. I ended things with her, kicked her out, and honestly, I was relieved. It felt like a weight had been lifted off my shoulders. But a few days later, I started noticing something was wrong. My phone wouldn't stop buzzing with messages from friends, family, and even coworkers. Social media notifications were blowing up. When I finally opened the messages, I realized my ex had launched a personal campaign against me. She had told everyone that I had been cheating on her for years. That's right, the lie I used to confront her was now being used as a weapon against me. She didn't mention that she had cheated first or that the whole situation started with her confession. Instead, she positioned herself as the perfect victim. She said I was a cold manipulator, a jerk who made her believe in a relationship while I was seeing another woman behind her back. And to make things worse, she didn't stop there. She made a video crying, her voice trembling, saying that she had discovered my betrayal and was devastated. Her story was so well crafted that it made everything feel surreal. She talked about how deeply she had loved me, how she had given everything for me, and how I destroyed her life with my lies. The video started circulating quickly. Mutual friends shared it, and soon my relatives began to see it. I didn't know where to hide. My mom called me, and it wasn't a friendly conversation. She was furious. asking how I could do that to such a good woman like my ex. My aunt, who barely speaks to me under normal circumstances, sent me a long message about how values these days are ruining relationships. Even my boss heard about it. He called me in for a talk, not directly about the video, but he made it clear he had heard rumors about my behavior. It was humiliating. I tried to defend myself. I explained to my family that it was all lies, that she was twisting the situation to get revenge. But no one wanted to listen. She had been so convincing that, to many, I was the villain. Even close friends started avoiding me. It felt like I was living a nightmare where everyone believed a version of the story that had nothing to do with the truth. The worst part? She managed to manipulate even the smallest details. In the video, she mentioned places where I had supposedly taken this other woman, places where we had actually gone together. She used our happy moments as proof of my infidelity. It was a mix of anger and frustration that I couldn't even process properly. The cherry on top was when she showed up at my parents' house. That's right, she had the nerve to go there, crying, asking for help to overcome what I had done to her. My mom, of course, completely believed her. She even took a picture hugging my ex and posted it on Facebook with the caption, "There's always room for forgiveness." I wanted to scream. In the middle of all this, I tried to confront her. I sent her messages, called her, but she completely ignored me. It seemed like her only goal was to ruin my reputation, and honestly, she was succeeding. I even thought about posting my side of the story, but honestly, who would believe me? Her narrative had already spread, and anything I said would just sound like an excuse. Weeks passed, and the damage was done. I had to block several people on social media because they wouldn't stop sending me messages calling me a monster. A few close friends who still believed me told me to let it go, that the truth would eventually come out. But deep down, I knew it wasn't that simple. The image she had created of me was etched in everyone's mind, and there wasn't much I could do. Today, looking back, I'm still amazed at how cruel and calculated someone can be. It all started with her cheating on me, but in the end, I was the one who came out as the villain. And the most infuriating part? I'm certain she knew exactly what she was doing from the beginning. She didn't just want revenge. She wanted to completely destroy my life. And in some ways, she succeeded. After weeks of constant attacks, I decided I needed to do something. My reputation was in shambles, and it seemed like her narrative had spread like wildfire. I decided to explain myself publicly. I made a video trying to be as honest and transparent as possible. I talked about how it all began, about her confession, about my lie to test her, and how she twisted everything. I showed messages from friends where I had told them, from the very beginning, that the cheating story was a lie to confront her. Everything was there, clear as day. And guess what? It didn't work. People didn't believe me. Apparently, a man admitting he didn't cheat isn't something that sounds believable to the public. It's easy to fake messages, they said. He's just trying to clean up his image. My video was met with even more criticism, and her narrative continued to be the official version for everyone. Every time I tried to explain myself, it felt like I was digging myself into an even deeper hole. I was labeled a manipulator, a gaslighter, and even a narcissist. That's when I decided to take more drastic action. I filed a lawsuit. I spoke to a lawyer and explained the entire situation. He analyzed the messages, her videos, and the evidence I had, and he told me we had a solid case for defamation and slander. It wasn't just about clearing my name, but also about putting a stop to what she was doing. The legal process began, and as expected, she tried to defend herself, saying her actions were based on what she believed to be true. But the messages I had sent to my friends, detailing my plan to lie to her to see how she would react, were crucial. I showed the dates, the timestamps, everything aligned with what had happened. My lawyer was impeccable in dismantling each of her arguments. In the end, the judge ruled in my favor. She was ordered to remove all the videos and posts she had made about me on social media and to pay damages for emotional distress. For a moment, I thought I had finally won. I thought that with this, people would see the truth. But that's not what happened. Even with the court victory, the public seemed inclined to keep believing her. Of course he won. He manipulated everything, I read in some comments. She probably took everything down because she was threatened, others said. It didn't matter how much evidence I presented or how many times the judge confirmed that I was in the right. The public had already chosen a side, and it wasn't mine. After that, she made one last post saying she was taking everything down due to a court order and that it was a victory for manipulators. Even though she was forced to comply with the ruling, she managed to turn it into yet another veiled attack against me. My name was still tied to everything she had said, and now, in addition to being a cheater, I was seen as someone who used the system to silence a woman. Gradually, I realized that fighting against this only made me seem guiltier in the eyes of others. My social life fell apart. Some friends completely distanced themselves. Others treated me coldly, as if they didn't know what to believe anymore. Even my family, who had initially supported me after the trial, began to look at me with a certain discomfort. It was as if I had been branded, and nothing I said or did was enough to change that. In the end, I decided to stop fighting. I simply accepted that, for many people, I would always be the villain of the story, regardless of the truth. I stopped trying to explain myself, blocked comments on social media, and disconnected from everything for a while. It wasn't fair, and it ate away at me inside, but I realized I couldn't live my life trying to prove something to people who had already decided not to listen. Today, I've moved on. I still carry the scars of that experience, and some people still whisper when they see me. But I've learned to live with it. The truth doesn't always win, and sometimes the best thing you can do is find your own peace, even when the world seems determined to condemn you. Over time, people began to stop talking about the whole situation. That's how it works, isn't it? A scandal captures everyone's attention for a while, but eventually, something new comes along to distract them. I carried on with my life, focusing on work, my hobbies, and most importantly, rebuilding my peace. There were still suspicious looks and occasional whispers, but it wasn't as intense as it had been before. Then months later, everything changed. I was at home, enjoying a quiet Saturday, when a friend sent me a message. "Have you seen this?" He included a link to a post that was going viral. It was about my ex. Apparently, the guy she had been seeing, the same one who supposedly consoled her after our breakup, was now involved in a massive scandal. He had cheated on her with several other women, and to make things worse, it all became public. Screenshots of conversations, photos, videos, everything started circulating on social media. Her name was everywhere because people began connecting the dots and realizing she had left our relationship for a guy who clearly wasn't worth it. It was surreal to watch all of this unfold from a distance. The same people who had attacked me and called me a manipulator were now directing all their anger at her. Look who's talking about cheating. The victim has become the opposite. I wonder if she lied about her ex too, were the kinds of comments that kept popping up. For a moment, I thought about speaking up, saying something like, "I told you so," or sharing the evidence I had already shown in court. But then I realized it wasn't worth it. I'd already gone through enough, and I knew how fickle public opinion could be. What mattered to me was that, finally, the truth was coming out. She tried to defend herself, of course. She made posts crying, saying she had been betrayed, that nobody's perfect, and that everyone makes mistakes. But this time, no one was willing to believe her. The scandal grew even bigger than the one she had created against me. I watched it all unfold in silence, not making a single move. I simply observed as she dealt with the consequences of what she had sown. It felt strange, to be honest. I didn't feel joy or satisfaction seeing her destroyed. Maybe a small sense of justice, but nothing more. I knew what it was like to be at the center of a scandal, and seeing this made me realize how much we both had contributed to the mess, even if in different ways. However, there was an important difference. I never lied about her. She chose to do that to me, and now she was reaping what she had planted. After that, people started treating me differently. They didn't apologize directly, but some friends who had distanced themselves began to reappear, trying to strike up conversations or suggesting meetups. I was cordial, but I kept my distance. I had learned that not everyone deserves a second chance. Today, my life is calm. I don't think much about what happened, but when I do, it's with the feeling that in the end, the truth found its way out, even if indirectly. As for my ex, she disappeared from social media. I don't know what happened to her after that, and honestly, I don't want to know. I prefer to maintain the peace I've finally found. Some battles don't need to be won publicly. Sometimes, silence is the greatest victory.